All right, let's face facts. Trudeau's days are extremely numbered. Even Jagmeet Singh has now said he's going to put in for a vote of non-confidence and end Trudeau's reign. But obviously he can't do it until the session comes back in late January, which will lead to about a March election, which guarantees Jagmeet Singh his $2.1 million pension. So I can only imagine why Jagmeet waited this long. Money! But there's many reasons why Trudeau needs to be taken out of office. He is probably the worst prime minister in the history of Canada, and he is undoubtedly the worst prime minister in my lifetime. Some of the outrageously horrible things on his record are the fact that just in Ontario alone, there's over 1,400 homeless encampments, and thousands more throughout the rest of Canada. There's 2 million people in this country using food banks currently. So it's around 2.5%, give or take, of the country's population is relying on food banks to eat. 1/4 of kids are going to school hungry. That is a huge increase from the past, which is just insane numbers. That 25% of all kids can't eat before school. There's a $30,000 per capita difference in GDP between Canada and the United States. That's the biggest gap that there has been since World War II, which is partly what's causing the Canadian dollar to be so absolutely horrible right now, as of today, coming in at 69 cents American.
That's a lot of money.
Which is just crazy, and it's obviously why Canadians are falling so far behind. And that's even compared to the States, whose economy isn't the strongest. Poverty levels are now at 25%, compared to 10% when Trudeau took office about 9 years ago. There is longer delays now in the healthcare system than ever before for surgeries and specialists and even emergency waiting rooms.
I waited 6 hours for him, see?
And even the fact that there's many people out there that cannot find a family doctor. The walk-in clinics are always full of people who either don't have family doctors or can't even get in to see their own because doctors have so many patients because there's just not enough in Canada. The federal debt has exceeded $1 trillion.
In our approach to costing, but make no mistake about it.
Budget will balance itself.
With a deficit of $61.9 billion reported for the fiscal year, ending in March 2024, which is about 50% higher than what it was supposed to be projected at.
Balancing the budget and debt reduction.
Unemployment is currently above 6%, and it's going to exceed 7% in the upcoming year in just this absolute demolished economy. Things are so bad here in Canada that scurvy is actually starting to make a comeback. Just from lack of food available at a reasonable price, people can't even afford to eat properly enough to get rid of this disease that we've had gone for countless amounts of years.
Scurvy? Who has scurvy?
Just since Trudeau has taken over, housing costs have risen 50%, making the houses unaffordable for the average citizen. The only people buying houses are now people making probably in excess of $200,000 for the household, that and big corporations. But to the average folk, housing is quite unaffordable. Even our food prices here in Canada have risen 36% faster than they have in the United States in the last 3 years.
That's crazy. That's crazy!
So if you feel like you can barely put food on your table, there's a clear reason why. Justin Trudeau needs to be taken out of office immediately. Hopefully, this will happen as soon as March. But until then, Canada will be left to suffer.
Her people are suffering, dying.
Canada is falling apart, just like Justin Trudeau's cabinet, as Chrystia Freeland and several other ministers resign, and many Liberal MPs are calling for Justin Trudeau's resignation. Now, Trudeau has done unimaginable damages to Canada in his 9 years of power, and it's time to put an end to this. It's time to call an election. It's time for us to take Canada back. It's time for us to live. It's time for us to make this, once again, the land of the free.
It ends the way it ends.
The end.